So hello everyone, good morning. So today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 2nd of July 2022. So we are going to look into most important articles of the day and we are going to understand them with reference to the prelims and the mains exam. Alright. So let us quickly have a look on those articles that we are going to understand today. So first of all, we are going to discuss about this particular topic. Okay, this topic is relevant from the science and technology section of the prelims exam. It says DRDO carries out test flight of autonomous UAV. UAV stands for unmanned or unaided aerial vehicle. So we will understand about this UAV, the concept of UAV, and we are also going to understand about various research and development centers of DRDO. Because many a times in prelims exam we have seen that like UPSC asks question from those important research areas or centers. For example, some of the centers of ISRO, centers of DRDO, so ISRO asks question from them. So we are going to look about, understand this topic, and we are going to look into a map also. After then we are going to look into the second topic that says sedition law should go. It was said by Mr. Sinha, so we are going to understand about the profile of Mr. Sinha. He has been a diplomat, and along with that, right, he is also associated with active politics in India. Okay, and he is one of the presidential candidate for India. Okay, so we are going to look into multiple dimensions. Okay, so this topic is relevant from Indian polity section of GS paper 2 of the mains exam and also for the prelims exam. Then the next topic that we are going to discuss today is related to nuclear policy. Okay, this topic says India's nuclear policy reflects past ideology. So we are going to discuss about what is India's nuclear policy, and I am going to give you a link to the nuclear doctrine of India. So you can go through that particular document, you can understand about the nuclear policy of India. It forms the part of foreign policy of India. Alright, so we are going to discuss about it in detail. And this topic is important from GS paper 3 perspective under internal security. Alright, so we are going to discuss about this. The fourth topic that we are going to understand is related to PMI. PMI stands for Purchasing Managers Index. Alright, so PMI hints manufacturing slowed to a 9 months low. Okay, so we are going to understand about this particular index, we will understand about its significance, and we will also understand about the macroeconomic situation in India. Alright, this article is important under Indian economy section. Okay, GS paper 3. After then we are going to discuss about another topic. This is cotton season expected to close with lower stocks. Okay, so we are going to understand about cotton production in India. We are going to understand what do we mean by bales of cotton. Okay, so this topic is important from Indian economy section and a specific sector related to cotton. So we will understand this topic. After then we are going to understand about TAI. Okay, so this is one of the association that regulates, or that represents the horse racing in India. So we are going to talk about the kind of sports that horse racing is. We are going to see whether it is this particular sports includes fantasy sports or it is a sports of skill, right? So there are two different nature of sports. We are going to discuss in detail about it. So it says TAI welcomes decision to relook levying GST on horse racing. Okay, so we are going to look into these topics one by one. So these topics are important for the prelims and mains examination. You can have a quick look into these topics. Okay, so let us start with the first topic now. So now let us understand what is DRDO. DRDO is one of the premier research organizations in India. It stands for Defense Research and Development Organization. So this particular organization works under Ministry of Defense, and it does research on those areas that are relevant for the defense purpose. Okay, So it carries out, you know, some of the research activities, it does testing of those things, right? So it makes ballistic missiles, it makes unaided aerial vehicles. So this is one of the top notch research institution, defense research institution of India. Okay, so this organization keeps on conducting multiple research so that like it can bring India in the upfront when it comes to, you know, securing the border of India, okay, when it comes to, you know, safeguarding the interest of India in terms of security interest. All right. So here, like recently, the Defense Research and Development Organization has tested an unaided aerial vehicle or unmanned aerial vehicle. So we will understand about that vehicle, and we will understand the significance of DRDO, the role of that DRDO plays, and we are also going to look into some of the important locations where some of the research facilities are located, right? You know, DRDO research facilities are located. All right. So this particular, you know, unmanned or unaided, you know, aerial vehicle, it was developed in Bengaluru. So Bengaluru is located in Karnataka. All right. So we are going to discuss about this. So they have tested a new unmanned aerial vehicle, and it is an autonomous flying wing technology demonstrator. Okay, flying wing technology demonstrator means it is a kind of technology that, you know, flies with the wings. Okay, so in this particular unmanned aerial vehicle, what DRDO has done, DRDO has used only single, you know, engine in it, and that engine is generally used for, you know, rocket systems. Okay, they have used one very small size rocket system to test this particular vehicle, and test was conducted successfully by DRDO. All right. So now apart from this, let us understand about, you know, some of the locations where DRDO is located, and they have, you know, multiple, you know, like establishments in India. One of the establishment is known as Aeronautical Development Establishment, which is located in Bengaluru. Okay. So this particular unmanned aerial vehicle, it is powered by a small turbofan engine. Okay, and this engine is Russian, you know, originally, and designed for cruise missiles. So they have used the engine of a cruise missile in a unmanned aerial vehicle. Okay, so now let us quickly look into some of the other developments that DRDO is doing. DRDO is also making the Rustam 2. What is Rustam 2? Rustam 2 is an indigenous medium altitude long endurance. Medium altitude means, like, you know, it is the height from the surface of the earth at which this particular vehicle is going to, you know, like travel through. So we have low altitude, medium altitude, and high altitude. All right. So it is indigenous medium altitude long endurance unmanned like, you know, aerial vehicle. So this is also being developed by DRDO. So this Rustam 2 is important, its name is important, and apart from this, locations of, you know, DRDO facilities are important. So let us see, this is the image of the unmanned aerial vehicle that DRDO has recently tested. Okay, this is the image. And so apart from this, these are some of the research facilities or establishments of DRDO. This map is important. In your free time, you should locate, you know, some of these locations on a map. You can take a blank map of India, and there you can locate these places and also write the names of these facilities. Okay, location and name. So Pune means like in Maharashtra. Okay, Pune, Nasik. Okay, in Maharashtra they have their establishments. In Hyderabad, okay, they have their establishment. Bangalore, Karnataka, they have their establishment. Then Koraput, they have Kanpur, Karwa, Lucknow, and Chandigarh. These are the locations where DRDO has its, you know, research and development facilities and also testing facilities. Okay, so we are not going into deep to understand about in which facilities what activities are carrying out by DRDO, because that's going to take, you know, a lot of time. So apart from this, what I have done, I have visited the website of DRDO, and from here I have, you know, taken out these locations one by one. Okay, proof and experimental establishment they have in Chandipur, Balasore. Then they have one of the establishment in Chandigarh. Then they have, you know, one establishment in Delhi also. Okay, Delhi Center for Fire, Explosive and Environment Safety. This works under Ministry of Defense. Okay, so so this is the thing, okay. Then they have one of the location in Mysore, all right. Other location in Dehradun. Then they have a location in Ramnagar, okay, Bengaluru. Then they have their location in Ahmednagar, Madhya Pradesh, okay. Maharashtra, okay. These are the important establishments of DRDO. With this, let us quickly look into another very important topic for the day. This topic is related to sedition law. We are going to understand about the meaning of sedition, okay. Sedition is listed under section 124A of the Indian Penal Code, okay. Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code, okay. So it is listed in section 124A of the Indian Penal Code. So here they have listed sedition. So sedition is a age old law. Means like this particular law was enacted by the Britishers when they were ruling India, okay. Since then this law is in place, and still this law is being used again and again. So what do we mean by sedition? Sedition means any act of violence or offense against the government of India, against the established authority in a particular country, okay, like if we talk about the government of India. So any act that hampers the the security or integrity or other relevant things related to the government of India. So all offenses like this comes under the category of sedition, okay. So like if you go into sedition, so the penalties or the fines or like the kind of punishment that is available under sedition is very harsh, all right. And the governments that are in power, time and again they have been using this sedition law, and it is alleged, okay, it is alleged by many critics. There's many a times the government of India or many a times the central government, okay, or state governments, okay. So many a times governments use this particular provision of IPC inappropriately. They actually many a times they actually are targeted towards the opposition party members, all right. So this is something that is being criticized widely by the politicians themselves from different parties, and at the same time many cases are being heard in the High Court and the Supreme Court of India. So recently the opposition presidential candidate Mr. Yashwant Sinha, okay, so what he said, Mr. Yashwant Sinha said that we need to repeal the colonial era sedition law, okay. We need to repeal the colonial era sedition law. Repealing means we need to put down this particular law from the rule book, all right. Why he thinks so? He thinks so because he is of the opinion that section 124A of the Indian Penal Code is widely misused by the authorities, by the different level of governments, okay. So this particular section, which is section 124A, it defines sedition as bringing or attempting to bring into hatred or contempt or excites or attempts to excite disaffection towards the government and criminalizes it, even attracting a life imprisonment for the violation, okay. So this is the definition of sedition, okay. Sedition means an offense that is done against the, okay, against the government, okay, and it is a punishable offense under the law, okay. So Mr. Sinha says that section 124A should go, and he believes that most people would agree that it should no longer be a part of our legal system, and this is a colonial era law and this should be repealed, okay. So this is the thing. Apart from this, he also says here this is related to the candidature of Mr. Yashwant Sinha as a presidential candidate, okay, as a president. So the present president is outgoing. So now in his place other people are contesting. One of the contester is Mr. Yashwant Sinha, and apart from this there is another party, there is another person, her name is Murmu, okay. She has a tribal identity. She comes from Chhattisgarh, okay. She comes from Chhattisgarh and she has tribal identity. This particular person, okay, this lady, she is being supported by the NDA government, by the BJP government in place, okay, and like Yashwant Sinha is from the Congress party, okay. So these are, you know, multiple what we say, like multiple political statements. So we don't need to go into those political statements, but here we need to understand that section 124A of the Indian Penal Code, you know, talks about sedition law, and it is a punishable offense, and the thing is like its punishment is harsh, and like, you know, there is a widespread misuse of sedition law, okay. This is not said by me, this is the statement by you know, politicians themselves, all right. So this is the thing. So you need to read about sedition, and like, you know, very soon we are going to have an editorial discussion class. In that class we are going to discuss in detail about sedition, okay. So with this, now let us quickly look into another topic that says India's nuclear policy reflects past ideology, okay. So when we talk about India's nuclear policy, okay, so we know that India is a nuclear country, means like we are capable of launching nuclear missiles, right. So we do have nuclear missile warheads in India. So that makes India as a nuclear country, okay. Not only India, but like, you know, some other countries are also nuclear countries. So the nuclear weapon, okay, is itself very dangerous. I mean, usage of nuclear weapon can lead to, you know, destruction of humanity, okay. It can lead to devastation of huge you know, territory with huge population, all right. So the usage of nuclear weapon should be done in a very you know, very rare condition, all right. So for that purpose, many countries have their own nuclear doctrine or nuclear policy in place, and India also has a nuclear policy in place. This nuclear policy is known as no first use policy. For example, like India is a nuclear country, let's consider Pakistan is also a nuclear country, China is a nuclear country, okay. So if in case like we are attacked by any other country with nuclear weapon, only in that case we are going to retaliate with nuclear weapons, okay. So we are not using the nuclear weapon in the first place against any country, means which is nuclear capable. Apart from this, this nuclear doctrine also talks about that, like, you know, we will not at all use nuclear weapon against a country that do not possess nuclear weapon, all right. Means a country that do not possess nuclear weapon, we are not going to use nuclear weapons against that country in any case. If there is a nuclear capable of country and that country is attacking us with a nuclear weapon, in that case we are going to retaliate with nuclear weapons, okay. So this is the nuclear doctrine in short. But like if you want to learn about nuclear doctrine, right, so I have given a reference link. You just need to click on this particular link. It is going to open a document of 17 pages, okay. You can read from there, so that will make you understand about the nuclear doctrine of India or nuclear policy of India, okay. So related to nuclear policy, okay, like chairperson of National Human Rights Commission, okay, he has made a statement recently. What statement did he make, okay? So in that statement he says that India's policy on nuclear weapon was a manifestation of its past ideology, okay. So he said this particular thing during a conference of human rights in Indian culture and philosophy, okay. So in Indian culture and philosophy we do have, you know, high level of tolerance, and like, you know, we are not offensive in the sense we do not have this inclination that we want to destruct some areas, right. We do not have that inclination. So that's why the nuclear doctrine itself, you know, focuses on like no first use policy, okay. So if we are attacked, only then we are going to retaliate, and we are going to retaliate it with a bigger measure, okay. But if a country is there that is not nuclear capable, we are not going to use nuclear weapons against that country, okay. So like Justice Mishra, means who is the chairperson of National Human Rights Commission, he said Indian civilization ethos was blessed with the power of assimilation of different streams of ideas and faiths, as we want to improve and not impose our culture upon others, which may amount to violation of human rights. Okay, and he said that, like, you know, the world was today facing the threat of destructive weapons, the use of which only benefited manufacturers of the weapons. Okay, so now the world is full of destructive weapons, and who is going to benefit out of those weapons? Only those people or those countries are getting benefited who are actually manufacturing those weapons. Okay, the people who are using, or the people on which it is being used, they are not getting benefited at all, right? So this is the thing. So with this, we will look into another topic. We are going to understand this article in detail. We are going to understand about Purchasing Managers Index. All right. So Purchasing Managers Index hints manufacturing slowed to a 9-month low. Okay. So what is the full form of this particular index? This is Global India Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. Okay. Name of the index is Global India Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. So this is a global index. It is not, you know, made or released by India. Okay, this is released by an international firm. Okay, an international organization. You need to, you know, search the name of the organization that releases the Purchasing Managers Index. All right. So according to this particular index, the manufacturing activities in Indian economy, the manufacturing sector in Indian economy has, you know, gone down 9 months low. Okay, from like it has gone down to a 9 months low. Means like manufacturing activities are not performing as it used to perform, you know, a year back. Okay, why? Because of multiple situations. There are multiple things that are happening. One of the most prominent thing is the, you know, like geopolitical tension between Russia and Ukraine. You know, that is leading to a global slowdown slowly and gradually, and India is also affected by it, because, like, you know, now majority of the foreign institutional investors have started taking out their money from Indian economy. Okay, so that has generally slowed down the Indian economy, and apart from this, many sectors in Indian economy is getting affected, and manufacturing sector is one such sector which is affected most. All right, so now what has happened? So according to this particular index and many other things, okay, so they have mentioned that the manufacturing sector displayed encouraging resilience. Resilience means we do have high pressure, still we are able to sustain that pressure. We are you know, able to perform under huge pressure. So it says the manufacturing sector displayed encouraging resilience on the face of acute price pressures, raising interest rates, rupee depreciation, and challenging geopolitical landscape. Okay, and apart from this, yet there was a broad-based slowdown in growth across a number of measures such as factory orders, production, exports, input buying, and employment. So now here they are saying that, like, you know, there are many areas in manufacturing sector itself where, like, you know, there we have seen a slowdown. Okay, what are those areas? Like, you know, the orders that are placed in factories for manufacturing the thing, it has gone down. The number of production, okay, the production volume, it has also gone down. It has led to reduction in the exports. And apart from this, like, you know, since like orders are less, so the factories are also making lesser buying orders. Okay, and it has led to, you know, like, you know, downfall of the employment level in the manufacturing sector. Okay, so so these are, you know, multiple things that we needed to understand. Apart from this, let us understand, you know, some more issues associated with the Purchasing Managers Index. So what is that work that you have to do? You have to understand, right? Search which organization releases the Purchasing Managers Index. That is one of the key important aspect, right, out of this article. So it says output unlikely to rise. Okay, so there are multiple agencies around the world. They keep on releasing different data, different reports, and they forecast different economies around the world. If we talk about S&P, S&P stands for Standards and Poor's. Okay, Standards and Poor. This is an organization that lists the top 500 companies of the United States of America. In USA, in US stock market, right, they have thousands of companies listed. So this particular S&P 500, it tracks the top 500 companies in USA and it tracks their performance. So like its role is not only restricted to the US economy, but it also keeps on analyzing different countries, different economies around the world, so that it keeps itself informed and its stakeholders informed about the growth potential in different economies around the world. Okay, so according to the Standards and Poor Global, right, S&P Global, they said although the outlook for the Indian manufacturing industry remained positive midway through 2022, sentiment slipped to a 27 months low. Okay, so the manufacturing sector in India remained positive. Okay, like people had positive perception about the economy, but the thing is the sentiment, people's sentiment has gone 27 months low. Means people now are apprehensive about the sector, whether it is going to perform in the near term very well or not. Okay, so these are multiple things. So what it says that the economies around the world are slowing down slowly and gradually. So it has an impact in Indian economy also. This particular article especially talks about the manufacturing sector. So it has outlined multiple factors that is leading to the downfall of the manufacturing sector, and it has also cited multiple reports from different organizations around the world to support its viewpoint. All right, so this is the thing. So in your free time you can read this article to understand it little better, because it is these comparative analysis that helps you to qualify the prelims and mains examination, because nowadays the questions that you get are not totally factual, they are conceptual, and you should relate from one point with another point. Only then you succeed in the examination. With this, let us move to another topic, which is this is related to the cotton. Okay, cotton production. So this is also one of the sectors of Indian economy. So here we are going to understand about cotton season. So this article says cotton season expected to close with lower stocks, sector facing demand supply curves. Okay, so now let us understand about cotton sector. Okay, so cotton sector is season dependent. Why? Because it requires huge amount of rainfall. Okay, so rainfall is needed, okay, for cotton to grow, and apart from this, multiple inputs are also needed. So we have learned in the past that some of the regions in Maharashtra, like Vidarbha region, so there people used to grow cotton, but majority of the cotton farmers, many cotton farmers are under huge financial stress, and many cotton farmers also commit suicide. All right, so now if we talk about cotton, cotton is highly in high demand during the summer season. Cotton is in high demand during summer season. Why? Because people wear clothes of cotton made, cotton made clothes, because they are summer friendly. All right, so now it is seasonal, so cotton is in demand during summers only, right? So according to this particular organization, which is known as the Committee on Cotton Production and Consumption, so according to this particular organization, they said that the current cotton season is expected to end in September 30. Okay, and according to their estimate, the stocks that they are going to have of cotton is going to go down. Stock means Like let's consider we have a warehouse. In the warehouse we store cotton, okay, in bulk. So this is known as stock, and like 1 unit of cotton is known as a bale, okay. So I have taken this particular image. So in this image you can see like different units of cotton wrapped. So this 1 unit of cotton is known as a bale of cotton, okay. It is known as bale, B-A-L-E. This is known as bale of cotton, okay. So in this particular article, this particular organization, the Committee on Cotton Production and Consumption, they have talked about like what unit of bale is expected to be used by different sectors, like small manufacturing units or large industries and all. So they have given that particular thing. So according to their estimate, the cotton sector is also facing constraints. It is facing difficulty, okay, in demand and supply, okay. Means like demand is also slowing down and supply is also going down. So the cotton sector in itself is facing difficulty, alright. So have we understood this thing? So it says on the consumption side, textile mills were likely to consume 285 lakh bales, okay. So this is one bale, right, a big unit of cotton, means like cotton put together in one thing, okay, that is known as bale. So they have mentioned like which particular area, or which like if we talk about textile mills, if we talk about a small scale industry, so how much bale are they going to utilize for their purpose, okay. So this gives us an idea about seasonality of cotton. Cotton is in demand in different seasons, right. It is in lesser demand in other seasons, and there will be a season when cotton is grown, alright. So how the cotton sector is performing, that is also very important. It is dependent on the rainfall, it is dependent on the temperature of the area, it is dependent on the demand of the people, right, whether they want to wear more cotton clothes or not. So accordingly the textile mills or small scale industries are going to perform, okay. So many things are interconnected, okay. Now cotton sector is also seeing a kind of slowdown. So here we need to understand one particular thing, the Committee on Cotton Production and Consumption. So this is a committee that looks after the cotton sector, alright. So with this, let us move to another topic. This topic is related to horse racing. We are going to understand about, okay, horse racing, whether it is a game of chance or a game of skill, okay. So now horse racing is a game of skill, alright. So we will understand this concept, game of chance and game of skill. When we talk about game of chance only, so game of chance is something which is highly regulated in India. In many states, game of chance is not, not allowed. Betting is not allowed in game of chance. But in game of skill, betting is allowed, okay. But that is also regulated, alright. Game of skill, if we talk about horse racing, so it is the skill of the horse and the skill of the jockey. Jockey means the person who rides on the horse, right. So it is a game of skill. So here in the game of skill, betting is allowed, but whether GST is applicable or not, it is dependent from different like from sports to sports. As of now, the government of India had imposed 28%, okay, it has imposed 28% GST on horse racing, alright. So this particular person, Jawari Poonawalla, okay, so he is one of the richest person in India, Jawari Poonawalla. So he actually looks after the interest of the horse racing, okay, horse racing as a game. So if we talk about the top authorities of India which conducts horse racing in India, has welcomed the GST Council's decision to allow the group of ministers to re-examine the issue related to levying GST on horse racing. Now let us understand this particular thing, okay. So we have understood that horse racing is a game of skill. Now the government of India has thought that we will allow the group of ministers to revisit and look into the issue of applying GST on horse racing. So Mr. Jawari Poonawalla has welcomed this particular move of the government, and he said, like, although GST can be applied, but it can be applied on the track owners, like people who like who manage the horse tracks, okay, who manage the horse tracks, but like, on the betting amount GST should not be applied. And he has put forward multiple viewpoints that, like, around the world, nowhere around the world, GST or other taxes are applied on the betting amount, okay. Taxes are applied on the, track owners, or like, who manages the track, and they are of the view that, like, the taxes should be lower, because like they have huge, like, cost associated with this. They have to maintain the horse track, they have to maintain the greenery, they have to, pay for the jockey, they have to maintain the horse breeds and all, okay. So they are employing huge number of people into this particular industry, okay. And this is an industry that that is, more than 200 years old. So these are different viewpoints. So now what is important for us to understand? The important thing is, like, in the next 15 months, 15 days, okay, like this, the government, the ministers, okay, the group of ministers are going to relook into how much GST should be applied, and in what aspects of the horse racing it should be applied, okay. So this is, I mean, like, this is a very important article for us to understand, because game of skill and game of chance is something that UPSC may ask in near future, okay. Many people do not have understanding which game is game of skill and which game is game of chance, okay. So this is the thing. So he has put forward the viewpoint that the unlike commercial gaming, all revenue made by the clubs is completely ploughed back into the welfare measures, like supporting jockeys, horses, equestrian breeding, right, and training, besides providing employment to thousands of people, okay. So this particular, he also says that, like, this particular industry also generates employment, okay. So there are certain associated sectors that also gets benefited out of this. Right, right. They are maintaining greenery, okay. They are maintaining greenery in cities where there is high, requirement of maintaining greenery. So let us, look into this particular question. This question is like one question that is relevant with an article that we have covered today related to India's nuclear doctrine, right. So we have understood India's nuclear doctrine, and this topic, this question is relevant with that, okay. So we have discussed about it. So it says, consider the following statements about Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, okay. This is in short known as NPT. Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, it is known as Non-Proliferation Treaty or Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. There are, multiple ways to talk about it. So it is in short known as NPT. It says India, Israel and Pakistan never signed NPT and possesses nuclear arsenals, okay. This statement, I mean, like, India is a nuclear capable country, we know Israel is a nuclear capable country, Pakistan is a nuclear capable country, okay. So these are factual information, but whether they have signed NPT or not is something that, like, that also requires factual understanding. So this statement is right, means like these three statements are nuclear, they have nuclear arsenals and they have not signed the NPT agreement here, okay. Apart from this, the second statement, the provisions of the treaty envisages a review of operation of treaty every 5 years, means like, this particular treaty itself is, prolonging itself, means this treaty wants to see whether the treaty is performing well or not, okay. There should be a review of the treaty every 5 years. So if you look into the, policy document of the non-proliferation treaty, so you will come across this particular statement, okay. This is also right, okay. This is just to help you understand about this treaty, okay. Questions are not made in this way. Questions may be made in, like in multiple different ways. The third statement, it says the treaty establishes a safeguard system under responsibility of the International Atomic Energy Agency, okay. So on one side we have nuclear non-proliferation treaty that is under the United Nations organization, okay. It was signed with the help of this thing. Now let us understand that, like, this particular treaty establishes a safeguard system. Safeguard system means the International Atomic Energy Agency, can go and conduct checking or review of nuclear facilities in different countries, and in those countries that have signed non-proliferation treaty. Okay, means like if a country has not signed it, then this particular organization will not be allowed to go and check the facilities. Okay, so that's why those countries who have already signed, these countries are also pushing other countries that they should sign this particular treaty. Why? Because this gives a responsibility on the nuclear capable states to have lesser nuclear capacities with them, so that the world can remain at peace. Okay, recently because of Russia and Ukraine, right, there was a nuclear tension also, that Russia may anytime fire nuclear weapons on Ukraine or any other European countries. Okay, so they have put on high alert their nuclear capacities, right? So this is the thing. That's why, I mean, like, if Russia was not a nuclear capable state, by this time, many countries of European Union, they may have already, attacked on Russia. But the thing is, because of nuclear capacity, okay, these countries are, these countries are back. I mean, like, they are not having that, courage to, say anything against or do anything against Russia. So, in this question, we have to identify which of the statements given above is or are correct. All the three statements are correct. Okay, so if you want to learn more about nuclear non-proliferation treaty, what you can do, you can visit these two links. Okay, Arms Control Association and United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs. Okay, if you click on these two links, you will come across multiple dimensions related to it. Okay, so that's all for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending the session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.
Welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Study General Studies with Lukmaan IAS for building comprehensive knowledge. GS paper 2 and 4 will be taken by S. Ansari and other papers will be covered by renowned faculties. Live classes are as effective as offline classes. The classes are highly interactive in nature. Your doubts and queries will be addressed and there will be dictation of notes. In the last 10 years, Lukmaan IAS has set up a niche in the field of UPSC guidance.